On Christmas Eve, 1945, the Sodder house in Fayetteville, West Virginia caught fire. George and Jenny Sodder escaped with 4 of their children. 5 others did not come out. The fire burned for 45 minutes. When investigators searched the ashes, they found no bones, no remains, nothing that proved 5 children had died in that house. Experts confirmed, a house fire cannot destroy 5 human skeletons in 45 minutes. The ladder was missing. Both family trucks failed to start. The fire department arrived 7 hours later, and 2 months before the fire, a man had warned George Sodder, "Your house will burn. Your children will be destroyed." The case has never been solved. The Sodder family had 10 children. On the night of December 24th, 1945, George and Jenny went to bed early. Some of the children stayed up, the older ones excited about Christmas. Sometime after midnight, a fire started on the ground floor. George, Jenny, and 4 children escaped through windows and doors. They called for the 5 others: Morris, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty. No response. George tried to reach the second floor. The fire was too intense. He went outside to find the ladder he kept against the house to use in emergencies. The ladder was gone. He tried to move his trucks to use them to climb to the windows. Both trucks failed to start. Trucks that had been working perfectly the day before. He called the fire department. They arrived 7 hours later. When the fire burned out, the family searched the ashes. No bones, no remains, no evidence that 5 children had been in the house when it burned. 3 witnesses reported seeing the children alive after the fire. A woman at a hotel said she had seen them in a car passing through town the night of the fire. 2 other witnesses reported similar sightings in the days that followed. None of these witnesses were interviewed by investigators. The fire chief ruled the deaths accidental. The case was closed. The Sodder family was not satisfied. George Sodder hired private investigators. He offered rewards. He put up a billboard on Route 16, a large sign with photographs of the 5 children and the words, "What was their fate?" That billboard stood for decades. In 1967, 22 years after the fire, a letter arrived at the Sodder house. No return address. Inside, a photograph. A young man, perhaps in his late 20s. On the back, 4 words. Louis Sodder, I love Brother Frankie. The handwriting was not identified. The photograph was not matched to any known person. The Sodder family believed the young man in the photograph was their son Louis, who would have been in his late 20s in 1967. The private investigator they sent to follow the lead traveled to the area the postmark suggested. He was never heard from again. The physical evidence of the Sodder case points in one direction. No bones. In a fire that lasted 45 minutes. Means the 5 children were probably not in the house when it burned. The missing ladder. The trucks that wouldn't start. The 7-hour delay from the fire department. The warning 2 months before. The witnesses who saw the children alive. The letter in 1967. The investigator who disappeared. None of these details have been explained. The most documented theory. The children were taken the night of the fire, possibly by organized crime figures with whom George Sodder, an Italian immigrant who had publicly criticized Mussolini, had conflict. The fire was set deliberately to cover the disappearance. The family never accepted that the children died. George Sodder died in 1968. Jenny in 1989. Neither lived to know what happened to their 5 children. We found something in the West Virginia State Police Archive. A 1946 internal memo that references an anonymous tip received 2 weeks after the fire. The tip named a specific individual. The individual was never interviewed. The memo was filed and not acted on. We are not saying this memo identifies the person responsible. We are noting that it exists, and that it has not been part of any public account of the Sodder case. Here is what we know. 5 children vanished on Christmas Eve 1945. No remains were found. Witnesses saw them alive after the fire. A photograph arrived in 1967. No return address. The investigator who followed the lead disappeared. The case is still open. Here is what we don't know. What happened to the 5 children? Who sent the photograph? Where the investigator went? What the 1946 memo means? And whether any of the Sodder children, who would now be in their late 80s, are still alive. We're laying out what we found. You decide what it means. Subscribe. And leave a comment, because the billboard stood on Route 16 for decades. It asked one question. Nobody ever answered it.